Hi, I'm Menchu Lauchengco Yulo, and I am a theater actress. To this day, people come up to me reminding me of how Next to Normal changed their lives or affected them. That was when I played Diana Goodman in the musical Next to Normal, which was a musical about a woman who was suffering from being bipolar. And apparently, it really hit a nerve with a lot of people, and to this day, people still remember me for that show. One would be Eva Peron in the musical Evita, because when I started my career, I was really a soprano. I was an ingenue. I did all the ingenue roles. So if you would tell me 20, 30 years ago that I would be playing Evita Peron, I would just probably laugh because it was not in my vocal range. But it was a challenge I accepted. I had to train for it for 6 months, literally, to be able to even sing the score. And so that was very memorable. So that was the shift in my career when I went from ingenue to kind of a belting range, and I shifted from playing ingenue roles into more mature roles and more character-driven roles. In 1978, okay, revealing my age, actually to be exact, in 1977, I was second year high school, and a friend of mine came up to me and said there were auditions for Repertory Philippines staging of The King and I. Now, I had no idea what theater was. I did not grow up going to the theater. I was not one of those kids. I mean, you have to remember in this time in the 70s, there were no workshops like there are today, and this exposure to theater is not what it is today. So a friend of mine comes up to me and says there are auditions for the musical The King and I, and would I want to go with her? So I knew the movie, no idea what the musical on stage was, and so I said yes for some bizarre reason. Now, mind you, I was 15 years old and I could not go alone. So I dragged my brother, Raymond, who was then 12, to keep me company. I show up at the auditions, oblivious to the fact that an audition meant you have to sing. Now, I've never sung on stage in my life, so I kind of panicked. But my brother was a singer. He was in the choir of his school, so I kind of slipped in his application without him even knowing. So he was very surprised when he was called up on stage. Anyway, long story short, he got in, I didn't. So okay lang, diba? No, nothing lost there. Went back to school. I was very heavy into the varsity. I was a varsity player for volleyball. Went back to my life. Opening night came. I sat there in the CCP main theater, lights went off, orchestra began, curtain went up, and I knew I wanted to do that. It just hit me. And the next year, they called auditions for Fiddler on the Roof. I auditioned, I got in, and the rest is, as they say, history. And that's how my career started. I didn't grow up saying I wanted to do this. It kind of found me, and I'm very happy it did. But it wasn't easy. I came in knowing nothing. I learned everything on stage, baptism of fire. I had really bad moments on stage. I had moments where I was very insecure. A lot of us actually who started in rep in the late 70s, early 80s were literally thrown into the fire with the veterans, and it was sink or swim. And I had no idea what energy was. I had no idea what a vocal line was. I had no idea about any of those things because I'd never studied. We never had workshops. So it was really learning everything by making mistakes and picking yourself up and not giving up and just going on and not letting anything stop you. It's a difficult profession because you're never judged for the totality of your work. You're always judged per project, and you may not be at your best in this particular project, and you may be at your best in the next project. The range may not be your best because you can't change the score, so you have to sing whatever comes your way. So it can be very frustrating. It can be very frustrating. But I've learned how to not drive myself crazy. I've learned that it is a challenge you take, and you have to adjust to the challenges as best as you can. I mean, you're not Superwoman. But that's the moment, and everything else that happened in my career. Again, I was also very lucky that I came into the theater when the theater world, like I said, was not as big as it is today. Because of that, because it was such a small community in Repertory Philippines, I was lucky enough to be able to play so many roles. We had 2 seasons a year, 5 plays a year, 2 big musicals. So the roles were just coming, and it was a constant training, constant training. If we weren't on stage, we were backstage. If we weren't backstage, we were selling tickets. If we weren't, you know, we were there helping with the lights. So it was really all around that we learned. We were lead today and chorus the next day, and so forth for many, many years. And you learn from that. You learn how to be humble. You learn how to just do the work. You learn how to have passion for the craft. And later on, further down in my career, when I went on to direct, again, it was something I didn't look for. It was, it found me. Audie Hamora comes up to me and says, they were doing a production of West Side Story, and he goes, Mench, I think you're the best person to direct this show because you had done Maria. And I said, oh, I can't direct. I never studied directing. You know, I'm just an actress. He goes, no, I think you know enough about the musical to do a good job. And so I took the challenge. Made mistakes as I watched the production, and I said, okay, I should have done that better, I should have done that better. But again, it was a learning process for me. And then later on, Joy Virata approached me saying if I wanted to take over being Associate Artistic Director of Repertory. Again, it was another moment I fell off my chair. I didn't think I could be Associate Artistic Director. It took me 2 weeks to say yes. And then I accepted the challenge, and I learned from that as well, and so forth until now I find myself as Artistic Director of Full House Theater. And I look back and I'm like, I'm so glad I accepted the challenges, because it was daunting, it was difficult, but it was how I learned, and it's how I am where I am today, and I continue to learn. I can't say that I know everything. I will never say that I know everything, because there is so much more to learn. And so I think in a craft that is based on art and expression, there is never enough to learn. There's always something to say. There's always something to reach out. You always want to say something. You always want a message. You always want people to come out of the theater learning something. You want to create thinkers. You want to create people who will debate on what you've watched and talk about it and be moved by it. You want to create that kind of an audience, and you want to create that kind of an artist, that it's about what you need to say and what you felt or feel is important to say and to be said. And that is basically, I think, the responsibility of an artist. That's why you should never claim to know you know everything, because once you think you do, the door opens and it's a whole different, you know, ball game out there. I mean, there's just so much to accomplish. Kids nowadays tend to wing it, and they tend to think that it's, oh, madali na yan, madali na yan, madali na yan. And so you are doing a disservice to the craft, because it takes more than just getting the lines out or having a wonderful voice, or it can go so much deeper. And that is the challenge of a musical theater or a theater actor, because if it's really just the voice, then just go and do a concert, because that's all it's really going to be. But if you want to do the theater, the process is completely different, and there's so much to put into it, and there's so much hard work, and there's so much to discover. So a rehearsal, the reason we have such long rehearsals is because it gives us a chance to discover. But if you're going to come to rehearsal and give the same thing every day, then it's pointless. Let's just do 1 week and let's open in a week, right? I always tell them, I sit them down and I explain to them the importance of text analysis, the importance of questions, the importance of attack, the importance of journey. They have to know these things, and it doesn't take you studying abroad to learn that. It just really is sitting down with your script and asking the right questions about your character. Never saying a line, not knowing what it means. If you don't know what a line means, then ask yourself, why don't I understand this line? Why can't I say this line with content? You know, you have to know, you have to say every line, know exactly what your character wants to say with that line. So for me, the process is very, very crucial. In fact, I love rehearsals more than the actual performance. That is my favorite part of the craft, because once you perform, it's locked in na. Wala ka na magagawa. It's there. You can't throw off your actors, your co-actors, by changing your attack. I mean, you grow, you become a little more confident, you discover little things, but the bulk of the work is there. You cannot change a lot of it. Why do I continue acting even if I drive myself crazy? Because I love it. I am one of the lucky ones who actually love what they do. I love how it makes me a better person. I understand people. Basically, your subject matter are people. You observe people, you realize, you analyze people based on characters, and you learn how to appreciate people for what they do, what their choices are, and you learn not to judge. Because when you have to do so many characters and you have to do character study, you have to put yourself in their shoes. So when you come across people like that, you learn to understand that, okay, maybe ganyan ang decision nila because of this, because of these choices, or because of the consequences they had to face. And that's what made them who they are. They're not bad people. They're just a result of what life has dealt, what life has given them, what their experiences in life are. I think because of theater, I have become a better person. I have become more understanding to people. And I think that is what makes the art so important, because it is about people, and it is about humanity, and it's about understanding people. So it goes beyond just being an actress. It goes beyond just putting up a show. It goes beyond all those elements. And I would want to do this till as long as I'm able. I've always been asked, if you were not a theater actor, what would you be today? And I quite frankly have no idea what I would be today, because I can't think of a life outside of the theater. So I honestly think that it found me, and it made me realize that, yeah, this was really my destiny, and I'm very, very happy to be still very active in the theater world at my age. So yeah, I would love to keep doing this for as long as I'm able, and it's possible.